tell you is that before they hit success, they had to go through like the million days of not being successful. So living out a purpose-driven life does not look like quitting your day job so that you can go and pursue your dream, although it may entail that, but you don't have to do that. Now, what is it? Well, if I could describe what living a purpose-driven life was in 2 sentences, it would be giving the gifts that God has placed on the inside of you to the world. We're all born with something on the inside of us, not only something, like one thing, but many things on the inside of us that God gave us for the world. And I think living a purpose-driven life is giving of that thing that's on the inside of you that was made for the world to the world. So essentially dying empty, and I'll explain what that means. My number one goal in life is to die empty, which is when I die, I want to make sure that I gave everything that God put on the inside of me to the world so that I know that I had nothing left to give. And so I think that living a purpose-driven life is that thing that God birthed in you when he brought you to the earth, pouring that into the world and serving the world in that way, in that area, so that when you're dying, you're like, I literally can't stay alive because I don't have any more to give. Like, I don't have anything else to give. And so I think for me, at least, that would be my definition of living a purpose-driven life. And that looks different in different situations for different people. For me, it could look like serving people in a creative avenue with website design and music design and video editing. And for somebody else, it could look like being a super good engineer, being an amazing lawyer or an amazing doctor. It doesn't only have to be in the creative field. Like, now that blogging and creative directing and social media influencing is becoming popular, that doesn't mean that that's the only place where you can live out your purpose. Doctors that are saving people's lives, those are people that are living out their purpose. Do you know what I mean? So it's going to look different for each person. However, the way to know that you are living out your purpose is that everything on the inside of you, you're giving it all to the world without asking questions, without holding back anything, just giving of yourself. And I love the book. If you guys haven't read it before, it is such a good book to get. And I think it's like $12 on Amazon. It's called Living a Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. And one thing that I really admire that he says is we have to be willing to stay in God's presence long enough to find out what our purpose is. Now, if you have a product, you can't find out the purpose of that product by asking the product. You find out the purpose of the product by asking the inventor of the product. That's the same way that us as created human beings don't find out our purpose from saying, how do I feel, or looking deep inside yourself. You're not going to figure out your purpose that way. It's when we go to our creator, our inventor, and say, what did you make me for? And the good thing about him is that he doesn't want to hide it from us. He's actually not trying to keep our purpose away from us or send us on this wild goose chase that only when you're 30 will you discover your purpose. No, you can find it out right now. It's given to those who are willing to just sit down and be like, you know what, God, I don't know what I'm here for, and I'd really like to figure it out. So please tell me, and he'll show it to us as we continually seek him. And sometimes, and this is one really big thing, sometimes we will end up finding out our purpose when we step out. There's a verse in the Bible, I think it's in Exodus, I forgot the exact chapter, where God told Moses to tell the Israelites to be still and know that he was God. Now, the next instruction right after that was, be still and know that I am God. And now go and take Jericho, for it is yours. So when God tells us to be still and wait on him, he's not telling us freeze and don't do anything. Freeze and don't read your books. Freeze and don't apply for that job. Freeze and don't serve in your church. He's saying, wait on me, keep seeking me out, but go. Like, step out. Like, what was the last instruction that I gave you? If I said serve on your church's choir, then go out and do that. Not sit down and be like, well, I'm waiting on God to reveal my purpose, so until then I'm gonna watch Netflix and chill because I don't have anything else to do. Do you know what I mean? And so it's just stepping out in faith, but at the same time seeking God and saying, what am I here for? And he'll show it to us. He won't show us the full picture. A lot of the time he'll show us one step at a time, and that is so important. So if we stay in that posture of seeking, just ignore that. If we stay in that posture of seeking God, he's definitely going to answer us, because he has no gain. He gains nothing from hiding our purpose from us. He wants to reveal our purpose. So I think once we realize that he wants to reveal our purpose, it'll give us a little more confidence to go to him and be like, what am I here for, Jesus? Can you just let me know? You know what I mean? And I think a lot of times it's really easy to be like, you should do this and you should do that. But how am I doing that? Like, how am I practicing what I preach? I think when I was 12, was when I really had that, like, that question was super big on my heart, and I really wanted to find out what I was here for. And so my parents advised me on the same thing of, you don't have to sit down and wait for a huge voice, Tobi, you were born to do this, to come from the sky. No. You can go out. You can go out and say, hey, I know how to sing, and I see that my choir needs extra singers. So you know what, God, I'm going to go serve you there. And then you're going to tell me what I was made for while I'm there. And so I decided that I was going to go and start serving on my church's choir. And so I went out there and I started serving. I think I had just turned 12, and I started serving, and I didn't know anything about it, but I would go to all the choir practices and I'd sit there and be like, I know how to sing, but I really need help with like knowing like what part I'm singing and how to do this whole thing. And I was just there, and I would just be so diligent in that, and I'd ask my parents, can you please drive me to choir practice thing? Can you please take me here? They said that they're having this meeting for choir, because I just wanted to serve God. And while I was doing that, my mom was in charge of the, the children's ministry. And I was like, hey, you need a few more teachers on there. Can I please join you on there? She kind of forced me into it. But because I saw that there was a necessity, there was a need there that I could fill, because I love children. I love hanging out with children. I'm really good at talking with them. So I was like, I'm going to do that. Like, I don't know if that's my purpose, but I know that there's something on the inside of me that enjoys relating with children. So I'm going to go help out there. And all through the time, I was still asking God, what am I here for? Thank you, because I know that you are giving me the answer. And when I turned 15, it was in January. I remember this exactly. I was sitting down and I was like, hey God, I've been asking you for a while, what am I here for? And it's a new year starting, and I just need to know what I should do. Like, what do you want me to do this year in order to fulfill my purpose? And I remember him saying, blog, start a blog. The way he told me that was just amazing, but I won't go into that story. And I was like, start a blog? I was 15. Like, I had never read a blog. I didn't even know what a blog was. I had to go search up on Google, what is a blog? Like, that was how out of the blues it was. But I was like, okay, God. So I wrote it down in my goals journal. I shared it with my family. I was like, I don't know what it is. I don't know how I meant to do it, but I just know that God told me to start a blog, so I'm going to do that. Then I just kept praying about it, didn't know what to do, so I just kept serving in church, and I kind of put that on the shelf. 8 months later, God was like, now it's time to seek that dream. Like, now it's time to fulfill that thing that I gave you. And I'm like, okay, sure. So I was like, we'll do it. God said it's time to do it. So I just went on and I was like, okay, God, show me exactly how it's meant to be. And I was sleeping, and he showed me in my dream exactly what it was meant to look like. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do any of what I just saw in that dream. But you know what? I trust you, so I'm going to do it. So I went on the internet. The internet is very helpful, y'all, let me tell you. But anyways, I went up and I was like, how do you make a website? How do you start a blog? And I started going on different people's websites and searching up how to edit videos and how to edit like website design and all of that. I had to learn so much. But I was like, you know what, God? You told me that you would tell me what my purpose was, because you said if you seek me, you will find me. And so I sought God, and this was part of that seeking process. So I began to, like I said, research on how to do all those things. And I launched it on October 17th, because I was like, that was the day God gave me. So I launched it on October 17th. I think I got like 150 views on the website, and I was like, God, this is amazing. What? Like, I did not know 150 people cared about this. And then I was like, but I don't know what else to do. Like, I just put everything I knew into this one, and now I don't know where else to go from here. And he was like, the same process that it took for you to get here, it's going to take to get you to the final product. And I mean, to the final destination, sorry. And fast forward to right now, it's just been a journey of sitting down and being like, God, I don't know what to do, but you said that you would show me. I don't know what to do, but you said that you would lead me. I don't know what to do, but you said if I seek you, that I'll find you. And so I'm seeking you because you are my creator. You know what I'm here for. I don't know what I'm here for. I can't sit down and be like, I think Tobi was made to be Beyonce. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Tobi was made to be a singer like Beyonce. I can't do that because I didn't make myself. So God, I'm just going to stay in your presence long enough for me to find out my purpose. Fast forward all the way to July. And after like a whole journey of 8 months of figuring out like, what is this blog meant to look like? And this isn't looking like what it was in my dream. God, I remember how it looked in my dream, and I need it to look like that. And just praying about that, I sat down one day and I went on the website and I was like, God, I think this looks exactly like what you gave to me in my dream. And he said, and I remember this, he said, you sought me. You were willing to wait to figure it out. Do you know what I mean? And this is not the end. You have not even started. Like, this is just the beginning. But if you will keep practicing that, of sitting down and knowing that if God said he's going to show me something, there is nothing, no power in heaven, hell, or on earth that will stop him from showing me that. And just stay there and find it. And I am so faithful. I will show it to you. And you'll get to find out more about kingdom living afterwards. But the moral of that story wasn't to tell you about kingdom living and how that is prospering. It was the process of learning to depend on God. The process of learning that, hey, if God said he's going to show me something, he's going to show me. And now I wake up every day knowing exactly what I'm meant to be doing. Do you know what I mean? Because I stayed in the presence of God long enough to be like, God, what do you want me to do today? It's a new day. You have a purpose for today. You wrote about this day thousands and thousands of years ago. You knew August 15th was going to happen. You knew what I was meant to be doing. So tell me what I'm meant to be doing. Tell me what today was created for. Anyways, that was a mouthful. Now that I've shared a little bit of how I'm doing that and how me living out and seeking out my purpose has looked like, I wanted to talk on 4 misconceptions of living a purpose-driven life. 4 that I had to learn from my parents, because my parents have been my biggest teachers, but also pastors and people at my church and people like leaders and all of that. 4 misconceptions of living a purpose-driven life. First one that I had, hugest misconception ever: you are too young to live your purpose. Can I get an amen? How many people have felt that way? Because I thought it was only adults that were in the work field that were living out their purpose, and us kids just had to, we had like 18 years to play and figure it out, and then once you turned 18, then you could, come on the scene and start figuring this thing out. That is the biggest lie ever. Living out your purpose is not for tomorrow. It is not for when you are 35. It is not for when you are 50. Living out your purpose starts from the day you're born. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, when you're a little child, you cannot be seeking your purpose from the age of 2. You don't even know what the word P is. I mean, the letter P is talking about purpose. But it is as you're learning and you're relating with God, you're figuring out, God, what do I need to do? Do you know what I mean? Ourselves. That's how young people are out here, and we're like, I'm just gonna go on social media and I'm just gonna post cute pictures and whatever, because it's not time for me yet. It's not time for me to live my purpose yet. And it's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? It is time for you to live your purpose from the moment you start living. Like, your purpose is not waiting for you when you're 30. And I think I just wrote a few notes on here. Age doesn't make us less qualified to live out our purpose. Your age is not an indicator of when you can start living your purpose. If you think you're 17 or you're 15 and you have nothing to give, think again. Just because other people at your age aren't doing the same thing you're doing, just because you don't see many role models that are 15 or that are even 20 living out their purpose, doesn't mean you can't start. You were made to be a pioneer. You were made to go first. They're waiting on you to do it first before they step out and do it. So I think if we keep waiting around for someone else to do it and then like to live out our dreams, and then we'll be like, okay, it's safe, now I can go and do it, we're not even going to fulfill our purpose of being pioneers. Do you know what I mean? We're not going to fulfill our purpose of being the first to step out, the first to believe God enough to go out and say, you know what, God, nobody's ever done this before in my generation, but I'm going to be the first one to choose to trust you that you'll make something good about this, good out of this, because you told me this is what I'm here for, right? So I'm going to go out and trust that, and trust that you who started this good work in me, you are more than faithful to finish it off. And even if you're fulfilling your purpose is in a field that many people have gone ahead of you, that doesn't make you less qualified. You don't say because, well, many people have done that, so I'm not going to go into that. No. You can go into that and improve on what other people have gone ahead of you and done. So it's just finding that balance between stepping out when nobody else has done it ahead of you, but also if other people have done ahead of you, learning from them and sitting at their feet and being like, how did you do this and how did you do that? And then going out and improving that field that you've been called to. I hope that makes sense. The second misconception is no calling. I do not have a calling. I have not heard the voice of God, so therefore I am going to sit down and fold my arms. There's nothing I can do about it. Let's address that first of all. Sometimes you find yourself in a place not because of calling, not because you heard a big voice or even heard the Spirit of God in your heart, but out of necessity. You know that you have what it takes to make a certain area of life better. So you go out and you do that. Kind of like what I was saying with how I saw that my choir needed more singers. And I had a voice. And I was like, God, I want to serve you. So I went into that and I started serving in that capacity. That's the same way that when you go out into that place where you see a necessity, God will meet you over there, and then He will give you the calling while you are there, while you're in that field. And I think holding back your gifts from the world, something that only you have the power to give, is a disservice to the world. If you're going to say, because God hasn't called me and I haven't heard the big voice of God, you're not going to, you're going to be holding back something that God put on the inside of you. Now, thank you, Aanu, for that. Some people feel too old. And that was one of the points that I was even going to get to. It's never too late to start. Like, literally, it's never too late to start. And I think a lot of times we tend to look at the Bible stories and say, well, that was the Bible time. But if we look at Sarah and Abraham, they had their kid when they were 100. Now, I'm not talking about having children, but just let me land. They had their children when they were 100, 190, 199, however old they were. But Isaac was born at the perfect time in order to fulfill his purpose. Sometimes we feel like you spent all your time, you're 50, you're 70, and you don't have more to give. But what if, may I submit to you, that gift on the inside of you was waiting for a time period where you were 70, but other people that needed it were maybe 15 or whatever. But other people that needed that gift were only going to get it at that time. Do you understand what I'm saying? So even when we feel like we've wasted so much time, that actually may be God's hand moving and orchestrating those times, because the time period, the time zone that He orchestrated that gift to be released into the world was when you were 70, was when you were 50, was when you were 30. So at the same time that we need to start early and we need to start seeking God at an early time, we also have to be willing to, at whatever stage we're at right now, still seek God. At whatever stage we're at right now, still be like, God, you know what? I really want to know you, and I really want to know my purpose. I feel like I wasted the first 30 years of my life, but you know what? I'm ready right now. And you said that your blood wipes away every sin, and it's able to wipe away every mistake and make me start over. So that's what I'm taking on. I receive myself forgiven. My past is remembered no more. I'm going to start today. It's never too late to start. It's actually more of a disservice to say, now I know. I wish I knew back then, but since I didn't know back then, I'm not going to do it. And it's like, then why would you even wish to know back then? Because that meant that back then you would have found another excuse to not do it. I hope that's making sense for all of us. Now, hang in there. I'm almost done, and then we're going to go into talking about like the brands and businesses and celebrating them and how they're living out their purpose. But the last two misconceptions that really got me was, it's hard, and I know all I need to know. I don't need to learn. The first one, it's hard. Living out your purpose is hard. Like, there's no way around it. And if you think that living out your purpose and walking in that is going to be easier than not living out your purpose, you have got another thing coming. The only way, let me start again. If you think that living out your purpose is going to be easier than anything else in the world, that's not gonna work. Like, that's not how it works. It will be hard. Like that, there is nothing good in life that comes easy. If you are about to commit to this fulfilling your purpose journey because you think that it will be easier than the journey you were previously on, I advise you to turn back right now. And I know that that may sound harsh, but the thing is, you are going to have to sacrifice so much when you decide to live out your purpose. You are going to have to sacrifice sleep. You are going to have to sacrifice friends, even sometimes. There's going to be so much for you to sacrifice. So if you're not ready to unlearn the things that you once held to be true, if you're not ready to let go of some things, if you're not ready to look dumb for some time while you ask questions from really smart people, if you're not ready for your heart to seriously be worked on, then this purpose-driven life may not be for you. And let me explain why I'm saying that. Phil Knight said something that has stuck with me ever since I read it. He said, I tell men and women in their mid-20s or any age that you currently are not to settle for a job or a profession or even a career, but we should seek a calling from God, seek a purpose from God. Even if you don't know what it means, even if you don't know what your calling is right now, keep seeking it. If you're following your calling, your fatigue will be easier to bear, the disappointments will be fuel for you, and the highs will be like nothing you have ever felt. The key point in that is that there will be disappointments, and there will be hard moments where you're like, why did I even start doing this? But when you know that you were called, when you know that you have no other option but to live this purpose-driven life, like when that becomes your all, that becomes your only option, every hard time will be fuel for you to do better. Every hard time will be fuel for you to wake up a little earlier the next morning and try again. And then when you do get it right, oh my goodness, it's going to feel like nothing you've ever felt before. I remember the first day that I got what felt like my big break on my website. I literally couldn't sleep for hours. Like, I was just up staring and just thanking God. I jumped until my legs gave out under me. I could not stop screaming because it was just sheer joy. The work, the nights I had stayed up, all the people that I was calling, can you please help me out with this? Can you please help me out with this? They were finally proving to be worth it. That joy became my fuel for other times when it was hard. And when I was like, this is really difficult, but you know what? I remember how good it was the last time. I remember how good it was when I finally got it right. So I'm going to keep going. However, all this finally reaching there can only be gotten if we'll stay in the Creator's presence. If we'll stay in God's presence long enough to figure out what exactly is it that He wants from me. If we'll stay here long enough to say, what exactly did He create me for? And once you stay there, once you get in that position of, God, I'm here. God, I'm ready for you to tell me what it is that you want me to do. He's just going to keep speaking. And He's just going to keep speaking. And you'll be like, God, you are not blowing my mind. You are making me so amazed. I never knew that I could have it this good. But it just takes that one decision of, you know what, God, I want to live a purpose-driven life. I want to live for the reason that you brought me here. And then that's it. From then on, you are set. It'll be hard. It'll be challenging. But it will be so worth it and so fulfilling. You won't even know that you could have that kind of fulfillment in your life before. Does that kind of make sense? And I think the last one that I said I wanted to share on was, I know all that I need to know and I don't need to learn anymore. Because I'm living my purpose, you know, God has given me everything I need that pertains to life and godliness. So who are you to tell me I need to do this? And who are you to tell me, no, God has already given it to me. You know, I don't need to learn. The only way that you'll fulfill your purpose well is through learning. You'll have to learn so much. Oh my goodness. It is a personal and individual responsibility to learn in order to stay relevant. The fact that you got your master's or you got your PhD even does not make you the owner of all knowledge. It does not give you a monopoly on knowledge. It simply means that you know a lot about one specific thing, but you can't stop there. Make meaningful connections with people. Ask questions. People that know a lot about a lot of things, talk with them. Ask them questions. Just sit down and be like, I don't really have anything to say, but I just need to know all the things that you know, so that I can become better, so that I can do more, so that I can stay more relevant, because knowledge is power. Revelation of the Word of God is power as well. And that one is like power beyond any power that we can know. So staying in the Word is so important. That's the only way, like I said before, that you'll know your purpose. However, in addition to that, finding out more about this world that God has created is the only way that you can contribute to the world. Does that kind of make sense? So learn. You will never stop learning at all. Now, I am done talking, mostly, about all this and what all this means to me. And now we're going to look at other people and how they are doing this and how they are living this out, not only in theory and talking, but in practical ways, like practically